If it happens in wrestling, it happens here. This is the Superkick Society. Welcome in and welcome all to this week's episode of the Superkick Society. I'm your host, Cam Sterling, joined by the lovely, exuberant Josh Alderman.
Wow.
How you
Consider me
doing,
flattered.
Josh?
I'm not too bad, especially after those compliments, Cam.
Yeah, chilling
Such
like
a
a villain.
flatterer.
Well, we had a pretty stacked week of wrestling, to say the least,
Oh
on
yeah.
various promotions, all around the world, you could say. But we'll dive right into that as the show goes on. But with such a stacked week, Josh, what do you want to cover first? I'll leave it up to you.
Ooh, dealer's choice. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with something that I mentioned last week on the podcast, which is New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 20. Now, plenty of stuff went down, but there's a couple noteworthy events that popped up because of that event, which took
Mm-hmm.
place, 24 hours after the recording of our last episode. So at that event, the main event obviously was Hiroshi Tanahashi retiring. I made the comparison last week to him being the John Cena of
He is the
Japan,
John Cena of Japan.
the never say die babyface, the real crowd favorite that brings in, fans of all of generations, really ties the product together. But after spending over 20 years on top, his knees just couldn't hold him up much longer, and the ace decided to hang up the boots, going down to his probably greatest ever rival, Kazuchika Okada, in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 20. It was beautiful, it was emotional, and while, like I mentioned, Hiroshi Tanahashi's knees and his age have really been wearing down on his in ring quality, he definitely left it all out in the ring last Sunday. And then it was followed up by like a 30-minute retirement ceremony with legends of just wrestling coming in, and then all of his greatest rivals from the last 20 years, Kenny Omega, Jay White, Kota Ibushi, Tetsuya Naito, and even Katsuyori Shibata, all coming to the ring to give him quite literally his flowers. It was beautiful, it was emotional, and it was just a fantastic moment. Really, really on par with John Cena's retirement last year. Beautiful moment.
I completely agree. It was a beautiful ceremony at the very end. We saw, as you mentioned, so many figures from his history. It is a little sour that Shinsuke wasn't able to make
That's
it,
the big
as he
one,
is
yeah.
another big rival that, unfortunately, in WWE, with the restrictions, unless they're really teaming with promotions, they can't really promotion hop. So.
Yeah.
Although Nakamura wasn't able to make it, it was really beautifully done. Um, and yeah, there's not much more to say. The GOAT of New Japan
Yeah.
is hung up.
Yeah, he's put away the boots and probably going to trade it in for a suit. I guarantee it, he'll end up running New Japan within a few years.
I wouldn't be shocked at all.
But speaking of running New Japan, a faction that's run New Japan for the last decade is no more. The Bullet Club is dead. There are no active factions or subgroups or branches of Bullet Club left alive in pro wrestling, and
That's unreal.
it's weird. It's such a weird
That's
feeling.
it's like when NWO was fully split apart and no more. The Bullet Club was like it was a virus, but in a good way. It
Yeah.
just grew in so many different promotions. We talked about it last week, but when Gallows and Anderson and Young Bucks and Kenny Omega joined back in AEW,
Yeah.
we saw some small reunitings in WWE with AJ Styles and Finn Balor and Adam Cole, but it's no more.
Yeah. So the faction as it was under the little banner of the War Dogs They actually got folded in with another faction of sorts called the Unaffiliated, which is just the rest of Los Ingobernables de Japón without Tetsuya Naito. If you know, you know. And really, just all these guys just lumped together, and that under one banner, which I don't know if I agree with the name of Unbound Co., but you know what?
Oh,
It's shaky.
it's almost as shaky as the Ops with
Yeah,
Samoa
it's a
Joe.
it's a bit rocky.
I'm not wearing an Unbound Co. t-shirt, if you know
Unless
what I'm
they're good.
saying. Unless they're good.
Like a nice design on the
Yeah.
front, I might rock it, but not for the name alone. But it is really shocking just to have this feeling of something that both of us have grown up with in wrestling, that this constant, ever since what, 2012, 2013, is now just no longer a thing. It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't feel real.
No, because even some of like the remnants, some of the leftovers, like another faction in New Japan called House of Torture, which used to be part of Bullet Club, they got kicked out last year. And you got, Bullet Club Gold in AEW. They're renamed. They're not part of the Bullet Club anymore. You don't hear the little Bullet Club for life at the start of their music. You don't get that intro anymore. They're on their own. There are no active members, active parts, active subgroups, or main factions of Bullet Club left alive in wrestling today. It's unreal, like you said, Cam.
Not to mention how many former Bullet Club members are close to retirement as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are several who are possibly on the last year. We know AJ Styles is hanging it up this year. Kenny
Yeah.
Omega is in the talks of ending it. Gallows and Anderson
Gallows and Anderson.
are kind of journeymen now, hopping from promotion to promotion, so they don't really have huge stakes left to fight for. I'd say
No.
Finn Balor might be the one with the longest still on his tenure with the WWE as far as core early to mid 2010s Bullet Club members go.
And even
But
then, he's still got like
yeah,
2, 3 years left.
not much, especially with the lack of major title bouts and main card bouts that Finn Balor has been getting over the past
Yeah.
few years.
And it's just wild to think how much has been caused by this one little faction. Like, without Bullet Club, we don't get the big surprise return of or debut of AJ Styles at the 2015 Royal Rumble. 2016?
20, I think it's 2015 or
Oh,
2016 now.
see,
Hey, you
now I
got
got
me
you
tripping.
confused.
I think it's
Anyways,
2016 because it was the year Roman Reigns came in first and defended the title,
oh
which
yeah,
he lost to Triple H. That's 2016, I believe.
yeah, that feels right. Anyways, we don't get AJ Styles going to WWE. We don't get, beat up John Cena, all those legendary moments. We don't see Cody Rhodes complete and reach the pinnacle of his independent run that elevated him to a point that WWE couldn't deny him anymore. You don't get, the rise of Hangman Adam Page. You don't get all of these legendary moments in wrestling. You don't get Adam Cole in NXT. Like, I could go on and on and on. So many moments within like the last decade of wrestling that we owe to one little faction from Japan, and now they're gone. Crazy stuff. Whew. All right. I need to catch my breath. I'm gonna pass it over to you. What do you want to talk about?
Well, safe to say we have a one of the most shocking championship defeats in the last year, I'd say. With Drew McIntyre taking the title from Cody Rhodes just last night, as of this recording in Germany, combined with the return of Jacob Fatu, which is
Oh yeah,
massive.
literally.
When you saw Fatu come into the ring, it might have been the sign of a Drew McIntyre Jacob Fatu rivalry, you would
Hmm.
think, with a trilogy match, a The looming bloodline hunter theme that Drew McIntyre was kind of leaning into. But as soon as Cody intervened, Fatu goes after Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre sneaks through by the skin of his teeth, and he is crowned the new WWE champion on SmackDown.
The road to get there was rocky. It was filled with bad booking and devastating losses, but you know what? The journey's just as beautiful as where he started 4 years. Jesus, I was going to say 4 years ago, 6 years ago now. WrestleMania during COVID, picking up his big redemption title win in front of zero fans. Now he is properly back on top of WWE. Like I said, bit of a hill, bit of a steep climb to get there. Not everyone's taste, but you know what? The end result is just perfect. Drew McIntyre back on top, baby.
Well, if you are an avid watcher, you'd know how much of a Randy Orton stand I am and how much I'm itching for a
Oh yeah.
Randy Orton defeat, a championship defeat over Cody Rhodes. But as I
Mhm.
took the night to soak it in, I realized that rivalry does not need a title,
No.
even though that would be great for Randy. But this gives time for Randy to turn heel. This gives time for that match to truly build up. And it gives me the other thing I wanted of this year is another like actually substance filled Drew McIntyre championship run.
Hmm.
Not an instant cash in, not the Damian Priest cash in where he held it for 5 minutes or whatever. This one could actually be built up with multiple feuds,
Hmm.
and Drew McIntyre has some of the best character work we've seen over the last few years, and he hasn't had the championship to really put it on the main stage. So overall, I'm extremely happy with how they did it. It
Hmm.
keeps that slimy heel aura that Drew McIntyre has right now of him slipping through the cage.
I like the
Um,
way you phrased that. Slipping through the cage.
But yeah, I'm really excited how Drew McIntyre kept that character while also defeating Cody Rhodes in an understandable manner.
Hmm. And that's the thing, like that end result, it made sense. Jacob Fatu, this wild beast let loose in the cage,
Hmm.
taking out everything in his sight, and that included the champ. He took out Cody Rhodes, brutalized him, and Drew, being the opportunist that he is, the slimy heel, getting out of the cage when no one else was watching, when no one was there to stop him. I That's a good end result. That's so on brand for the character that Drew's been portraying that it just makes sense.
And I don't know if we go to this extent, but I think with the unpredictability of this year's Royal Rumble, I think Jacob Fatu could be in talks with winning it and going after Drew
Ooh,
to finally get back at him for injuring him in early, I believe it was early 2025. And
I think so.
yeah, there's so many upper mid card just rising onto the major title scene wrestlers that could win this year's Royal Rumble. We know Braun Breaker's in the talks. We know LA Knight might be in the talks. Penta, with him being back, he's
Yeah,
a wild card in this year's Royal Rumble. There are a lot of maybe not pay-per-view poster type guys
not
that
yet.
could win this Royal Rumble, but exactly not yet. And this year's Royal Rumble could lift one of those guys up. But I also talked about the Stone Cold record last week, and the possibility of that being broken and Triple H's tendency to break records recently with the Royal Rumble's like longest appearance with Rey Mysterio being beaten multiple times in the last few years. So this record specifically, I could totally see him, although I don't want it, I could totally see Cody Rhodes winning another Royal Rumble and just going back at Drew, even though it wouldn't have any substance. Um, they're really in a record-breaking mood in the past few years, and I think that, as I said, the Stone Cold record has stood a long time, and there's been multiple people who have gotten close and haven't actually taken it. So Cody Rhodes is on the table now as well.
Now, speaking of that championship and potential matches coming down the line, there is going to be a number one contender series going on right now. Little bit of a
Hmm.
tournament with some very interesting matchups that include Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams.
Matt Cardona battling for the WWE Championship. Let me have it.
Book it. And then we got Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. Banger. Early
Gonna be
match
a
of the year
banger.
contender.
Not much more to say about that one.
No, you don't need story for that one. You got Randy Orton versus The Miz.
That
You
one you
know,
need pretty much all story.
Atomic Bomb versus Coughing Baby. And then, last but certainly not least, Damian Priest against Solo Sikoa. That's a pretty stacked tournament from top to bottom.
I want to say one name that I'm kind of upset that was left off,
Let's
and
hear it.
I honestly think the rivalry could have ended here, if you know what I'm saying.
No, don't do it.
I kind of wish Aleister Black was in this tournament. And why is Solo Sikoa in this tournament when he is in a rivalry with this Wyatt Six?
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you dare ask for
I'm
another
just
Aleister
saying
Black
there's
and
one
Damian
guy who
Priest match.
shouldn't be in it and one guy who should be in it, and the match that they would be in is fighting Damian Priest. If you connect the dots, it just lines up with an Aleister Black versus Damian Priest match. I'm sorry.
All I can think is that scene from It's Always Sunny where you got Charlie pointing to the wall behind him, all the
It all
papers.
makes
It
sense.
all makes sense. All the thumbtacks, all the red string. It all leads back to Damian Priest versus Aleister Black. Sure, Cam, whatever you want.
Three constants in life: death, taxes, and Damian Priest versus Aleister Black.
Unreal. Well, it's going to be an exciting tournament, anyways,
Very much
despite
so.
the fact that the match that we want won't be in it. But
The match that everyone wants.
everybody's saying,
Screw it. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest versus Aleister Black in a triple threat. Book it at Royal Rumble.
say less. All right. Speaking of titles, let's take a look over at Raw with the Women's Intercontinental title. Big shock victory, which is very surprising given the circumstances for Becky Lynch. That's not a sentence I didn't think I'd be saying anytime soon, but that really came as a surprise taking the title off of Maxine Dupree so
Yeah.
soon.
I wanted Maxine Dupree to lose it in a pay-per-view or
Yeah,
a PLE. She's been putting really good work in with her promos since she won the title.
yeah,
It's almost like that title gave her superpowers, I swear. Like she had no skills on the mic with American Alpha and American Made, and uh now she's a very, very solid mid-card worker.
hmm,
And I know they are setting up AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. That will be a WrestleMania match. I can
yeah,
guarantee it. But I wish that happened at the Royal Rumble, not
yeah. Like
on Raw. It would have
this,
given so much more stakes to that Maxine Dupree run. It would have given her one more month to work up the card.
hmm,
And I don't know. I know Becky Lynch was going to take it back with the feud with AJ, but as I said, I wish Maxine had a little longer.
yeah. And based on what the dirt sheets were saying, it was basically because she just got married last week, so time off, go on the honeymoon, probably return at the Rumble or something. But even then, maybe you postpone the honeymoon for a few weeks, drop it
Yeah.
at the Rumble.
Eh.
Not that we're in any position to say that, but
Not
still,
not
it's
that we're in either the creative chair or booking Maxine Dupree's honeymoon. Uh,
yeah, yeah, but it is
but
unfortunate that
it's just a sign of her putting in really good work as of
Oh
late as
yeah.
the Intercontinental Championship, and it proves that with fans wanting her to keep it a little longer, even though there wasn't much stakes, and she was even assumed to win it by accident when she did win it. So I think she rose up the card by a mile, and I'm excited to see what she does later on this year.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, which can be a term used for our next topic, which is Javon Evans. Your boy
Hmm.
is bouncy and
The
he
young
is headed to
OG,
Raw. Young OG is on Monday Night Raw officially. That's a big signing.
very much so. I didn't love that they did it on a commercial break,
That
that
was
some
very
parts
icky.
of the world didn't even see it, with
It's America.
arguably,
It's just America.
yeah, it's just America not being able to see the young OG signed to Raw. But I'm real excited about it. I'm really excited to see what he does. I think he'll
Hmm.
fit perfectly into that mid-card battle. Um, I don't know. I think he's going to get off to a pretty hot start.
Yeah, I think you'll see the same kind of rhythm and formula that WWE has started to use under the Triple H regime, where you get an older, established mid Carter going into a feud with a younger call up. They'll go back and forth. The older vet will give him some shine, will give him some of the spotlight, and eventually give him a big win on a semi big stage. And then that helps move them up in the eyes of the fans, up and up and up. And it just keeps going on and on and on. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Javon Evans in like IC title contention by Mania.
I completely agree. It is tough with how many injuries in the Raw
Hmm.
upper mid card is coming back. Penta is already back. Chad Gable is rumored to return in the near future. So I don't know how much he'll fit in then, but with how many call-ups and how many returns and how many debuts SmackDown has got, I think Raw was the right place for Javon Evans.
Yeah,
I
and
do
it,
wish he got an NXT title run. That's the
yeah,
one missing hole on his resume, though.
it's that little asterisk that will always be there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he could return like Dolph Ziggler and win it 10 years from now. Who knows?
I somehow forgot about that, suppressed it in my mind. That is, that's a callback and a half right
Yep.
there. Wow.
He put over NXT Braun Breaker. Don't let it go from history, man.
No, it's true. It's true. Can't let it hide. Speaking of Braun Breaker, though, he battled CM Punk for the world title in the main event of a special edition of Raw and put in a very solid performance.
Yeah.
Really, really good, but didn't come out with the title.
I I really don't know what to think about that match.
I
I
agree.
could have totally seen Braun win it right there.
Yeah,
CM Punk won it in not a very extravagant way. And I don't know if this will last until Mania, because I know they're trying to save that massive stage for Braun Breaker to win his first major title.
of course.
But I also don't think they're gonna do it at the Royal Rumble, so I don't know how this feud is gonna go 4 months, possibly without a Braun Breaker Royal Rumble win. So. I
No.
really don't know how to think about it, but obviously you can't really. I think this was a sign that they were really planning to give the title to Drew here for a while now, because you can't have both your major titles be lost literally on 1 weeks of Raw and SmackDown,
Yeah.
especially less than a month away from one of your big three PLEs. So I think just the um sheer size of that Drew McIntyre win
Hmm.
is the only reason that they didn't give it to Braun.
No, that does make sense. Like that really does seem like the reason that they haven't quite pulled the trigger. And yeah, Braun still looks like a beast. He's never not going to. But that's the problem is you can only stall for so long. You can
Yeah.
only pump the brakes for so long. You've got to give this guy his due.
Not only isn't the first time WWE has done this, it's not even the first time somebody or WWE has done this to another Braun.
You're not wrong there.
They left Braun Strowman
High and
with
dry.
enormous heat, and they never pulled the trigger. And then he suffered injuries, and he's barely even on TV anymore.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
I'll have you know that he beat Goldberg for the Universal title at, I want to say, the same WrestleMania that happened during COVID where Drew won the title.
yeah, he never had a substantial run with the Universal
Nope.
title, though, and that was Goldberg.
In the big 2020.
Goldberg and 2020 do not mix. So
Oh,
I was really looking forward to a Braun Strowman run. I was very upset when they really didn't give him much with the title. And I think it's way too early to put that on Braun Breaker.
no, it's still too early.
All being said, but I think they got to pull the trigger soon.
Yeah, like it's by no means time for alarm bells to go off, but the clock is definitely ticking. It's getting there, but
It's getting to the LA Knight Money in the Bank heat, and
oh, don't remind me.
and WWE just has to pull the trigger, and they did on Drew, so it's not like they can't,
Hmm.
but it's got to be soon.
Has to be soon. Well, we mentioned some title contenders, some potential title runners heading into the Rumble. Let's talk about Gunther and AJ Styles. That is interesting to say the least. I want to get your thoughts on it.
Uh, I don't know, man. I I'm in the state of just wanting to see Legend Killer Gunther.
That's
I want
fair.
him to not take a pin or lose a match for the entire year of 2026 and become the top heel of the company without any doubt. So I don't know that's where I stand on it. I just want the match. Um, I think he would be a great fight with AJ. There's nothing pulling them in opposite directions right
Hmm.
now, so I don't know. That's where I stand on it. I just want to see Legend Killer Gunther. He's got so
Yeah,
much heat right now, and he's got to use it.
I think that's fair. And what's special about Gunther, especially now that you've established him as the killer of legends, you had him put down Goldberg and Cena, and now probably somewhere down the line, AJ Styles. That's the good part about this whole thing is he's never going to stop being Gunther. He
Hmm.
will always be this perennial title contender. You can put him in a world title match tomorrow, no one bats an eye. That's where he's been established. That's the quality of work or the quality of character that he is right now. And that Legend Killer spice is just being sprinkled on top to raise that up just a bit more to make it even more meaningful when he eventually does get put in a title match.
Well, all this talk about titles on the main roster. We have one still sitting in the ring in NXT, which
That's
is
true.
massive. Obafemi defeats Leon Slater and then leaves in the cover of darkness with the NXT Championship stranded in the middle of the ring. I I don't know what to think about it.
No, that's a fair response. That's valid. I think
It's it blew my
it's
mind to say the
yeah.
least. Obviously, Obafemi is ready for a call up.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, he needed to lose the title in some way
But it's
to
like
come up to the main card title, but it poses
yeah.
some mystery on where he's gonna go and what he's gonna fight for when he comes to the main roster. And by God, if he's Drew McIntyre's next opponent,
Oh,
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be
I wouldn't be
shocked at all.
surprised. You know what? I'm gonna put some early money down. That $5 that I saved from my bank account after MJF won the title.
Hmm.
I think Obafemi wins the Rumble. They give him
I
the
like it.
mega push.
I think he's got the stature and the heat to for that mega push.
If not
I
winning the
and
Rumble, Final Four.
and Drew McIntyre interfered in that Cody Oba run, so they have something to fight
There's
for right
something
now.
there.
There's something brewing for the ruler on the main roster, and oh my God, I want to see it so bad. That would be such a good match. M- We talk about it on this podcast all the time. Just want meat slapping meat, and s- that
Big
would be the
meaty men
meat
bumping meat.
Olympics, man.
Oh yeah.
Obafemi versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship.
No bread, no water, just meat.
Put it on the card.
Book it.
Put it on the card.
But the big question that this now leaves is who's next? Because Oba's gone, Javon's gone, Hendry's gone. You're starting to lose these big stars that are getting called up.
Trick's gone.
Ricky Saints isn't in a position to win the title
No.
again. Yeah,
Ethan
Trick's gone.
Page probably has the most tenure, but he's holding a title right now with no
Hmm.
sign of giving it up.
He
Um,
works as a mid card guy, probably on the main roster, if I'm being honest. But right now, he's got a mid card title on NXT. They're not going to make him double champ.
the one face left in the audience is my choice, and you'll hear more about it in the specialty segments as we continue this episode.
Ooh,
But I got my money on Tony D'Angelo taking that title. I think it's
really?
his
The
time
Dawn.
to be the face, the face of NXT. I love the Don gimmick. I love the D'Angelo family gimmick. I think it's about time that he gets an NXT title shot, and with so many open spots on the major title scene in NXT, I think it's his time.
I think, yeah, that's a very, very solid bet. I want to maybe, give the proverbial rub to someone who has kind of just been drifting around, nothing really going on. I think now's the time. Give Brian Pillman Jr. or Lexus King, give him a
I
shot.
like it.
Give
I
him
like
a
it a lot.
push because you're losing all these main event caliber players. You got to bring up some bench guys, got to put them on the floor, got to put them in that rotation, make them those main event caliber stars. I think Lexus King or Brian Pillman Jr., he's got that it factor. He's got the in ring ability. He's got the promos down pat, just like his dad. And it's all there. They just haven't done anything with him just yet.
I think the other option is give it to a TNA superstar. NXT has been running the title scene in TNA for a while. There's been some spurts with TNA superstars getting them back with Leon Slater and Frankie Kazarian right now, I believe. Um, but there was a time when Trick Williams was holding it. Kalani Jordan's still the women's champion.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see TNA getting some swagger back on NXT and possibly a Moose, possibly a Leon Slater. Who knows? But it could go to a TNA superstar to take over the major title scene in NXT as well.
I like that. I think that's a very fair point, but will it come true?
Who
We'll have to
knows?
wait and see. So we talked about some other titles in NXT. How about the NXT North American Women's Championship? We saw a title change this week. Cam, take us through it.
There's It's not much to take you through or to lead you through because it was such a mess. But Blake Monroe beats up Thea Hale. She goes to the back. No North American Women's Championship match. Woo! But then Thea Hale puts on her hustle, loyalty, and respect and brings on an open challenge. and Tatum Paxley brings out a chainsaw to try and stop everybody else to take a match on an injured Thea Hale, but right behind her, Izzy Dane takes the North American championship away from Thea Hale, and a big change of the guard on the women's mid card scene.
Yeah, it's definitely a choice. I mean, it gives you a built-in feud, Paxley and Dame. They already got a rivalry going. This just adds a little more fuel to the fire.
Literally had a match that night.
Yeah, little things like that.
Yeah,
So you add a title to the rivalry. At least it steps up that game a little bit more. But now it's the case of what's next for Thea Hale and Blake Monroe. Because you got Thea Hale, a talented prospect, definitely still needs a little more work in terms of promos, in terms of in-ring stuff. Still a little more work,
it's gonna be
but
tough with Jordan Grace on the main roster now as well. She's on
yeah,
her own, so
you
it's gonna be
got
interesting to see without a title in her hands.
you've got these, yeah, big opportunities. You got to make the most of them. I think give her a little more time and we could see her being one of those call-ups around Rumble season, but for me, the bigger question comes in the form of Blake Monroe.
Me
You can
too.
only hold her in NXT for so long.
And
Like,
she's already established. It's not like she needs work. It's not
mhm,
like she needs a title run. She's ready.
yeah,
I could seriously see her being the Rumble surprise. I could
genuinely.
seriously see just her making her call up in the Rumble, and that's that. You don't need much of a storyline. It's like Obafemi. You can just put them up there whenever you want.
Hmm.
You can just put her in the Rumble, make her last 20 minutes, like you did with Jordan Grace when she was the TNA champion.
But give her that shine.
Just give her that shine, give her that time in the Rumble, give her that main card spotlight,
Yeah.
and that's all you need.
And
You
that's the
don't need
thing.
to make a crazy push like the Trick Williams promo or the single scene of Javon Evans actually signing his main card contract. You can just stick her in the main card.
Exactly. It's one of those things where we're in an age where every fan has access to the internet. Everyone knows that this is Mariah May.
Yeah,
This is, the same woman that ran rampant over AEW, the same woman that put on some of the best heel character work of the last decade, who put
arguably
on,
the best rivalry of the year with Tony
yeah,
Storm.
genuinely, who had some of the best women's matches, again, of the, like, in such a long time. We haven't seen the likes of the technicality, the violence that Mariah May brought to those matches. You can put a new gimmick, you can put a new name on her, but it is still the same wrestler at the end of the day. And these fans know that. You can only keep her down in NXT to teach her the WWE way for so long.
And I think the better question is what show is she going on? Because that SmackDown mid card is filling up, to say the least. Once the injuries come back, of course,
That's
like
fair.
Tiffany Stratton is a big one that needs to come back. But yeah, Blake Monroe, I don't know what show she fits. She fits the vibe of Raw, but SmackDown has more opportunities right now. What do you think?
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. She fits Raw a bit more. It's the bigger stage. She's a bigger star. But SmackDown has kind of become like the women's work rate show where there's a lot more opportunities there to showcase your talents.
Jordan Grace just
That's
got on
tough.
that show and she just had a confrontation with Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
Like, it's pretty rapid paced
it's that easy.
for those big time, doesn't need any more time to improve NXT call ups like Jordan Grace and like Blake Monroe. So I could totally see Blake Monroe literally getting out of the Royal Rumble and entering the SmackDown major title scene.
It would make sense, but now that you've said that, I feel like give her a chance on Raw.
Yeah.
The bigger spotlight, the bigger stars, they're lacking in sort of upper mid card to cusp main event players there. Because you're
Right.
either Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky,
Or
or
Maxine
you're
Dupree.
okay. I would even put Maxine Dupree like
Maxine
in the
Dupree
middle.
in that talks now.
That's
What a
wild.
run.
But anyways,
But like you
you're
said,
either
there are
here
some,
or you're here.
like you got legends or you got just rose up
Hmm.
women's players in the mid card. So once AJ Lee's not going to be performing extremely frequently after this Becky Lynch feud.
Yeah,
So you're going to need a brand new picture for that Raw mid card title. I could totally see Blake Monroe in the talks.
I think that's fair to say.
Well, talked a lot about the WWE scene since NXT was so packed. There were a couple new faces in AEW.
Oh yeah,
One return and one
some
massive debut.
familiar faces.
One familiar face. Which one do you want to go on first?
I'm going to start with the one that I'm going to talk a little more seriously about. It's the debut of Jake something, now seemingly going under the moniker of Jake Doyle. That guy's a beast. We were talking about him
Yeah,
just a few weeks back. Might have even been last week, where I mentioned him on Pusher Berry. He could have and should have been the face of TNA for a good 5 years now,
yeah.
if not the X division, but they just never pulled the trigger on him. He's like if Keith Lee had a lot more muscle on him. He is a big man who can do some crazy power stuff, but can also fly like it's
Reminds me of
nobody's business.
Dijak. NXT
Yes,
Dijak.
a beefier Dijak.
Yeah.
That's
It's
exactly it.
it's really tough though because I think he fit the TNA roster so much more. I could
Yeah,
totally see him being that main guy on TNA. For the life of me, I can't see him being that on AEW. They
I
just have
think,
so many more
yeah.
style of guys that are similar to Jake Doyle. Like, I can't see him being put over Kyle Fletcher. I can't see him being put over Hangman. I can't see him being put over Swerve. It's really tough to see him in that picture and have as much heat as he did on TNA in AEW. We know he's going to be part of the Don Callis family. That could build him up a little bit, but how many more Don Callis family members are you going to add, and how much will that do to a wrestler to be able to bring them heat? So I
Uh,
don't know. I don't think it's the right promotion for him. I think he
mhm.
had a lot more possibilities in TNA to go for that main card scene or main title scene.
But it's also a matter of
It's tough. It's a matter of time too.
would they have put him there? And they
Yeah,
haven't. So I think maybe the grass is a little greener if you kind of take that step back, more of a solid hand role. It
yeah.
looks like they're going to pair him up in a tag team with Mark Davis, which that would work. A nice solid hand tag team who can go up against anyone, have a really good match with anyone, gives Davis something to do, gives Doyle some credibility out of the gate. On a side note, though, I am waiting for the day that we get Don Callis family Hollywood versus Don Callis family Wolfpack, but that's a story for another day.
Don't,
Speaking of the family, though,
you think Don Callis is Mormon? He's got a lot of kids.
it's a big family.
It's a big family. I wouldn't want to go to the Don Callis family Christmas.
That Thanksgiving table is
Think of how much those guys eat too.
oh, you
Sell
got
out their local Walmart.
oh yeah, you got some big boys in there. They're taking
Oh
full
yeah.
turkeys to the plate. Anyways, speaking
Oh,
of the
the
family,
turkey population is gonna plummet in the Don Callis area.
the Don Callis area, he has his own locality.
Yeah, he's got his own village. He's got his own population.
Unreal. All right. Speaking of the family, we did see another member return to the promotion. This one a little less serious in our discussion. It's Andrade back again, the exact same. mask the exact same
Yep.
lights out, lights on angle that he had,
Andrade
2 months ago
Elidolo.
against Omega. Funniest wrestler alive.
Oh man. Andrade is like a homie hopper. He just goes from WWE to New Japan, now back in AEW. He's just
Caught me off
everywhere.
guard a little.
He's just everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But I'm excited he did his best work in AEW besides NXT, which I
Mm,
mean he could pull a Finn Balor and go back, but I don't think that would do anything for him.
no.
So I'm excited to see what he does in his second run in AEW. Um,
It's a right
he
spot
got
for
a
him.
decent pop when he returned as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think most people would agree that Andrade did his best work in AEW,
Yeah.
and yeah, not much more to say. I'm
Yeah.
just excited that Andrade is going to get the platform he needs.
He's a really good worker. He's still in his prime, and I think it's the right spot for him. Nothing left to say.
Yeah, Andrade the homie hopper. Quote it.
Quote it. That's going to be our most viewed reel for a reason. Andrade El Idolo, the homie hopper. Not clickbait. Gone wrong. Cops called.
Oh
3 a.m.
man.
Unreal. All
Remember
right.
when Andrade had a last name? Andrade Homie Hopper Almas in
It's his little
NXT.
nickname.
Instead of Cien, Andrade Cien Almas, it's Andrade Homie Hopper Almas now.
CN is Spanish for homie hopper.
Yeah, now it is.
Now it is.
All right.
Let's get to the specialty segments.
Yep. To get go from unserious to a little less unserious, we're gonna talk about some surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble, our four favorites in this week's edition of Mount Rushmore. And to let you come down from the homie hopper comment, I can kick it off if
Take
you'd
it away.
like. We talked about my number one pick. This was one of my favorites. Even though I didn't even know who he was, I became such a fan after he debuted in WWE. We're going AJ Styles, 2016 debut in the Royal
Iconic.
Rumble. Third entrant, the first actual countdown entrant in that Royal Rumble, and you send out AJ Styles. What a call. And this was Vince McMahon WWE. This was
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns propaganda WWE. And you send out the phenomenal one in the first entrant of a WWE Championship
Royal
bout,
Rumble.
Royal Rumble, and let them last 45 plus minutes. I
Yeah.
think that was one of the best debuts we've seen, Royal Rumble or not. Obviously, we know now, over the last decade, AJ Styles has been arguably a top five worker of this decade from
Oh
2015 to
yeah.
2025 or 2016.
Got
um,
you there.
got myself there. Um, but yeah, I think that's a no-brainer as far as Royal Rumble moments goes. And yeah, that's my first pick. Second pick. This is one of my favorites of all time. This is a return, not a debut. Um, this wrestler. I watched him for a year and I loved him the minute I started watching WWE. He was the first match on the first pay-per-view that I saw in WrestleMania 27. It's the Edge return of 2020. That 2020 Royal Rumble, in my opinion, is one of the best of all time.
Oh yeah.
It's the Drew McIntyre defeating Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble after Brock. We thought this was just going to be another Brock Lesnar propaganda run
Mm-hmm.
with him eliminating everybody in the first 10, and then Drew came in, knocked him out, but and then went on to win. But that Edge return, man, that blew everybody's socks off that was watching. Nobody thought Adam Copeland was coming back to WWE after that neck injury, and there was nothing on social media about it, nothing hinting at it.
No.
it, it's a good old fashioned return, and nope, Nobody had an ink of an idea, and it just
It worked.
borderline miracle, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
So, combined with that being one of my favorite Rumbles of all time, um, Edge return, my second pick.
very
And I just
nice.
hinted at my third pick without realizing it, because I'm special like that. Uh, I think this surprise was equal, and that's the Drew eliminating Brock in the 2020 Royal Rumble, going
Nice.
on to win. This was very shortly after Drew McIntyre got called up from his NXT stint and was just Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard. He didn't have much heat going into that Royal Rumble. He was a solid worker. We knew his NXT run. We knew his NXT championship run. He knew he had a star on the horizon. We just didn't know quite yet. But when he threw over Brock Lesnar, of all people, and Brock Lesnar, of all people, right after Brock Lesnar had like 8 straight eliminations,
Mm,
it was complete shock. And that's what started that COVID run, that pandemic run of Drew McIntyre that everybody knows him for and loves him for. And that was the start of the new top babyface at that time and really kept WWE afloat during the pandemic. So I think that was the inciting force. And I think that was one of the biggest surprises in Rumble history of Drew McIntyre being made that day by eliminating Brock Lesnar. A lot of new era Royal Rumble moments for me, but this one is awesome. It's memorable. It's funny. You can't really beat it. It's when Vince McMahon tore both his quads,
nice.
running down I can't even explain. Like he had NOS
Oh,
in his system. It was ridiculous. You could see steam coming out of that guy's ears.
oh yeah.
And Batista and John Cena fall on the floor at the exact same time, and this guy was fuming.
And the best part
And
is it's a shoot. He was seriously pissed.
exactly, exactly. Like there was no storyline for them to
No,
touch the floor at the exact same time, and Batista was clearly meant to win that Royal Rumble.
just a little. Just a little
Just a
obvious.
little bit. You could even see the right leg of John Cena at that time possibly hit the floor last.
Hmm.
So he was pissed and hops up on the apron,
And
crumbles to the ground. There's nothing like watching Vince McMahon of all people
hmm
speed walk down to the ring and just sit in the corner like a dad watching his parent or a son watching his parents fight with with no leverage to tell them what to do
oh
because he
yeah.
could not stand on his own. It was hilarious. Obviously with me being 1 years old, I couldn't watch that live, which
Yeah.
sucks. Um, but the replays, the moments, everybody not knowing what the hell to do with their CEO laying on the ground, not being able to stand up is
Oh,
hilarious.
iconic. It's a
And
big
then
surprise
knowing the
too.
backstory of like no knowing the backstory of nobody knowing what to do because Vince is not telling them what to do,
Hmm
it's unmatched. It's
It makes it that
unmatched,
much
man.
sweeter. All right. I'll take things from here now that I've had a chance to catch my breath. So we have got in the number one overall slot. I'm surprised this didn't make your list, but John Cena's Medical
That's
Miracle
my honorable
Return
mention.
2008.
I wish I was watching at that time because that would have hit so much sweeter knowing the backstory of it now.
Like medically, he was not supposed to come back to be cleared for like another good 8, 9, 10 months.
He was doing physical therapy 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then he just rocks up number 30, and
Yep.
Madison Square Garden of all arenas erupts into pandemonium. It doesn't get much bigger of a surprise than that. All right. Number two went for something a little more modern. Mickey James returning to WWE
Ooh,
as the TNA Women's Champ
I
back
like
in
it.
2022, I think, with her TNA theme song and everything. It was just a really perfect moment because it's something we had never seen before in the form of a TNA champ rocking up in WWE,
You didn't like
repping
the
that
Mickey
brand.
James masked Alexa Bliss double run?
Yeah, her WWE main roster run was a little iffy, and the way that she got released, the infamous story of her getting sent her stuff in garbage bags, it was the perfect send off. Almost like it was an apology for how they mistreated her in the past. But you know what? We're not going to mention that part.
You're gonna get an NDA from the WWE.
Yeah, I think so. But you know what? It's almost like it was an apology, but it felt sincere.
It was the first
Got a
sign. It was the first sign of the partnership.
Yeah, all back the way back in 2022.
Hmm.
It was a big partnership. It was a big deal at the time, and ultimately it was a nice, very big, heartfelt moment for Mickey James, for her to get the big pop, the big return of the night as the TNA champ. That was just something special and a big surprise at the time.
I like it.
Now, something else. Again, I'm surprised you didn't mention this because this was listed as one of your favorite matches,
Mm.
the 2001 Royal Rumble, where
Yes,
we
I.
had the biggest surprise of them all, Royal Rumble entrant Drew Carey. You want to talk about celebrity cameos? That's it. That's the one where he tries to pay off
You had
Kane
me.
to don't
You
beat him
had
up.
me. You had me.
I know. I had you there for a
You
second.
had me. If you were talking Raven bringing in the garbage can, if you were talking Sabu, if you were talking Al Snow with the baby doll head,
No,
I would, I would have landed, but no,
no. The
not
hardcore
Drew Carey
icon,
in his full Adidas tracksuit,
the
man. No.
innovator of violence, Drew Carey.
That's the reason all the Extreme Rules were in the match was Drew Carey was in there.
He just got out
But
a couple spots before he was supposed to. That's all.
I'm shocked 2001 WrestleMania didn't have a Drew Carey versus Kane fight.
You would think, but it was
You would
still a
think.
really cool moment.
I
Big
I love that
surprise.
whole Royal Rumble. Just not Drew Carey.
You know what?
I,
Different
I was a
strokes
I
for
was a bigger
different
fan of
folks.
Price is Right Drew Carey, not really a big
Mm,
stand-up Drew Carey guy.
yeah, but it was a big surprise at the time. It's funny looking back on it
Mhm.
now. Different strokes for different folks, but you know what? That
I'm a,
does
I'm
make
a
my
bigger
list.
Johnny Knoxville appearance fan. That
Oh,
was that might be my favorite.
I forgot about that. But you know what? Maybe it makes my honorable mentions. But the number four spot does have to go to 2018's big pair of NXT call ups. The very first time that we got
Mm.
proper NXT call ups in the middle of a Royal Rumble. Not call ups per se, but surprise entrance, especially the night after an NXT takeover pay per view. We had Adam Cole Bebe and Andrade Townbike Almas make their way in to the 2018 Royal Rumble, and instantly you felt the energy from the crowd. I had, you know, the fortune of being able to watch those live on pay-per-view, that match, sorry, live on pay-per-view, and
Hmm.
it was one of those NXT guys can be in this match too. It was the first moment where you saw those big NXT surprises enter the Royal Rumble, and that always stuck with me. And for it to be, you know, the town bike and one of the biggest stars of the last decade, respectively, it really goes a long way in sticking in people's memories. And for that, I have to include them as one of my favorite Royal Rumble surprises of all time.
Now, I don't want you dissing on that Bo Dallas appearance as the NXT champion,
True, true,
but
true.
that wasn't an official call up. I'll let that slide, but that was massive. It was the prime of NXT in my opinion. Uh Adam Cole and Andrade, two of the biggest stars in WWE that time, even though they weren't on the main roster, and I
Hmm.
completely agree.
All right. We move from one specialty segment to another. Let's talk stock. Who you got going up in 2026? Who you got settling down? Cam, why don't you break down what this week's specialty segment is?
Well, this week's specialty segment, wrestling stocks. Wrestling stocks. We're betting on who's going to have a big rise in their wrestling career heading into 2026. And we're going to guess who might have a little bit of a fall or just not as big of a stage as they did in 2025. I think I can start this one off because I already mentioned one of my biggest
Do it.
riser predictions in 2026, and that is Tony D'Angelo. I think with, as we mentioned, how many holes are in the NXT major title scene right now, and Tony D'Angelo being that face in the crowd who is obviously going after the title, I
Hmm.
think he's the one to do it. He hasn't had that real shine in the major title scene that I think he deserves, that I think his gimmick deserves, and I think he's going to have a phenomenal 2026 as the main guy in NXT.
I like it.
Now, for my second big riser, this is a recent fall off, but I think it's safe to say she has fallen like an avalanche in the last 3 to 4 months of this AEW year, and that's Mercedes Moné. I think she has had one of the most rapid fall offs that we've seen in the last few years, and I think this is the sign, at least the sign I've been really hoping for a Mercedes Moné babyface run and finally get out of those mid card titles in the AEW women's division and go after the AEW Women's World Championship. And I think she will have it by the end of 2026.
Ooh, hot take.
I think babyface Mercedes Moné will have the championship by the end of 2026. And for that reason, I think she's one of my biggest risers as how low she is right now.
Not in a
So
bad way, though.
not
Not in a
not in a
bad
bad
way.
way. I think this is the right direction she needed to go for a babyface run to come out of it.
Hmm.
And for that reason, she will be a riser in 2026. And finally, with some new news this week that we didn't really mention, Tommaso Ciampa possibly getting out of his contract in WWE is cause for my third riser on the Smackdown scene is Johnny Gargano finally getting a
Ooh.
singles run. He is another one that I wish could have possibly been in that tournament for the Fatal Four Way. We know how much a singles Johnny Wrestling can do for a brand with him revitalizing NXT Black and Gold and becoming the face of
Hmm.
NXT. Um, and yeah, with how good DIY was doing, it wasn't showing any signs for Johnny Gargano's singles run until this week. And I think this is a massive sign. I think this is massive for the United States picture. Johnny Gargano is my prediction to eventually take it off of Carmelo. And I think that will push Johnny Gargano into the upper mid card, possibly into the major title scene, depending on how things fall after this Drew win, because I think it's going to be shaken up a lot, and Johnny Gargano could reap the benefits of it.
I like it. No
You want
real
to go on to
analysis there.
your,
I
yeah,
just like it. I'm a big fan of
yeah.
Gargano. I think you said it perfectly. There's nothing really more technical that I can add. I just like that pick a lot. That's a good pick, Johnny
Nice.
Gargano. He's
Keep
got a
talking, keep talking.
he's got a lot of wiggle room now that unfortunately Tommaso Ciampa is out of the picture. There's a lot that can be done face or heel with Johnny Gargano in that SmackDown mid card to upper mid card
Mhm.
scene. Now's the time. Buy your stocks.
All right. I told you what stocks to buy, Josh. Let's hear yours.
All right. So, if you haven't bought your Kyle Fletcher coin yet, I'm telling you,
I
now
have
is the
bought
time.
mine. I'm sitting pretty. I bought it after the Hangman match.
Yep.
But for those who haven't, let's hear it.
All right. So, Kyle Fletcher, one of the biggest breakout stars in a long, long time that we've seen in wrestling. If WWE has got Braun Breaker and Obafemi to lead them into the next generation, AEW has Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher breaking out from being a tag team guy. He was named Superkick Society's Breakout Star of the Year for
Hmm.
2025. Had some banger matches, went on a crazy title run with the TNT title. So, one of the big men's mid card titles. Got to really show his work with his promos, with being a member of the Don Callis family,
The face
putting
of
in
the
the
Don
work that
Callis
way.
family,
Yeah.
possibly now. The favorite
And
child, you could say.
the favorite child, Kyle Fletcher, and even got his first taste at the main event at All Out Toronto, which we both had the fortune of going to go see, where he took on Hangman Adam Page and really took him to his limit. It was one of those moments where, Hangman's not going to lose the title a couple months after he's won it, but you start to doubt yourself. You
Hmm.
start to think, oh my God, are they actually going to pull the trigger on Fletcher? And it felt right in the moment in that match. And that really sold me on Kyle Fletcher. Like it's obvious to see from the naked eye that he is going to be a star, but being able to see that in person, take the top star, the face of your company, to the absolute limit and leave you in doubt as to the outcome of the match. That's the markings of a star. And that's why I'm saying buy your Kyle Fletcher coin right now.
I do think the steel cage match with Ospreay put him in those
Oh,
talks,
yeah.
and then the Hangman match solidified it, and now he's here to stay.
It really gave him the boost that he needed. Now, staying in the world of all elite wrestling, whew, we're gonna now talk about one of the biggest women's stars who I am telling you now is going to have a breakout 2026, who is going to be the next big thing, and that's the Toxic Spider Tekla. I think, we talked
Interesting.
about earlier about having aura, what it does to a character, what it does to your presentation, to even your matches, having this aura around you of being a badass, being cool, being someone unstoppable. Tekla has that and more. Just a really cool look, this punk rock badass gimmick, and her in-ring abilities are just insane. Again, we got to see them live with the women's title four-way at All Out Toronto. She's been
That
steadily
really put her
hovering
in those
around.
talks.
Yeah, like she only debuted for AEW last year,
Hmm.
and she's already being predicted and set up to be such a big star, had a big presentation right out of the gate, was established as this big star, and has fully lived up to those billings, to those expectations that she's been given. And I think heading into 2026, I would not be surprised if we see Tekla A, take the TBS title from Willow Nightingale, and B, go after and maybe even win the women's title off of Chris Statlander. Hot take, I know. I could see it, and I think the evidence is there. She is going to be one of the biggest risers in wrestling in 2026.
Well, maybe one of the biggest payoffs too if you put your stocks into Tekla. Who knows? But let's hear your third.
All right, third, I went for a little more of a dark horse, something that is a little more speculative than anything, but based
Mm.
on some newfound popularity. I'm going with Kit Wilson. That is a very, very hot take to say, to put him in the same level as Kyle Fletcher and Tekla and Mercedes Moné and Tony D'Angelo and Gargano. But I think with the new presentation that they've given him, the new moments that they've given him, WWE has shown interest in pushing Kit Wilson forward. And honestly, the new theme song, like I mentioned, the new presentation, a proper entrance video, full graphics at the bottom of the screen, they don't just hand those out to anybody. And the in-ring ability that he's shown, the character work that he's shown as a part of Pretty Deadly, and now getting to stand on his own as a single star. I think 2026 to take a big, potentially home run swing at this. 2026 is going to be the year of Kit Wilson,
Yeah.
to quote his beautiful theme song.
You better hope you're hitting like Joey Gallo,
Oh, yeah.
batting a solid 160 for 40 bombs.
This could
But
really come back to bite me.
like, oh man,
You
he
can't put your
was he
faith in a
was
jobber.
was he even a top five return slash debut on last week's SmackDown?
No, not
We
really.
got Matt Cardona, we got Trick Williams, we got Jordan Grace. He wasn't top three, but I mean, I really could see them put in that work as a mid carder. But like, what is your payoff for Kit Wilson? What's his ceiling for you in 2026?
Obviously, he's not going to be, main eventing WrestleMania. He's not going to be winning the title off of Drew McIntyre anytime soon. But I think a good US title run is in the cards for Kit Wilson in 2026. Like I said, you've given him this special presentation, the special name graphic, the special entrance video. You don't just do that for anyone. Like everyone else gets the same standard stuff. It's really the people that the creative team believes in that get these special things. And that combined with the stuff that I previously mentioned, promo, character work, really solid in-ring work, and, you know, just the aura around him has made me believe that WWE sees the potential in Kit Wilson too and might just make 2026 his year. That is probably the only one of the three risers that it's boom or bust. He is either going to stay as a jobber lower mid card act, or we could really see him hit the highs of an upper mid card title run. I'm just saying.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
All right,
I
we've
think
looked at
with
the highs.
yeah,
Take us through the
I think
lows.
with the
What have you got?
availability on SmackDown it is possible, but on my sell highs. Now these I have to clarify because these will be some main card guys. These will be some former world champions. These will be some top of the line workers right now, but I just think their year this year will be a little less than their year last year and years before that. So, I have a bit of a package deal for my first two because of their really intertwining stories that have nothing to do with titles right now. And that is Hangman and Swerve. Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. Now, I would love for them to be in the major title picture, but after that fatal four-way loss, after this lights out match this week, it's really beginning to show the true colors of the huge changing of the guard and changing in the major title scene in AEW. I think Kyle Fletcher needs the title by the end of this year.
Oh yeah.
I think Okada or Takeshita could be in the talks as well. And Kenny Omega obviously going after MJF right now. I I don't see a window where a Hangman feud for the title or a Swerve feud for the title makes sense. And I think they do their best work in that major title scene. And of course, like there have been Roman Reigns mid card runs. There have been Seth Rollins mid card runs. There have been Daniel Bryan mid card runs or Bryan Danielson mid card runs. And like sure those show up in their career. I just think this year will be Hangman's or Swerve's, which is nowhere in comparison to the work they did in 2025, especially Hangman with arguably the best title reign in all of wrestling in 2025. So for that reason, and for that reason only, I am still a Hangman fan. I will root for Hangman throughout the entire year. I just can't see a window where he matches the
Hmm.
stakes in 2025, and same with Swerve.
I think
And
that's
yeah,
fair. That's fair.
and on the other side of the coin in WWE, another guy who I think this will happen to is Sami Zayn. I think Sami is showing a lot of heat on the WWE Championship right now. I think he should have one in
Yeah.
his future. Um, I can't see the window where he does it. There's
Ooh.
there's too much unpredictability right now. I need to see more in 2025 before I give Sammy that belt, and he's just too big of a star um,
Okay.
for me to put him through in such an unpredictable time in 2026. I really need to see how this Royal Rumble plays out because there are talks that they just give it to Roman Reigns. And
Um.
if that happens, this SmackDown scene will shake up completely. And it's already shaken up
Oh
with
yeah.
Drew winning it last night. So, Sami Zayn's a tough one because he is totally on pace to challenge for it. Will
Hmm.
he win it? No, I don't think so.
That. Ooh.
It,
That's a bit of a tough sell for me because
yeah.
it seems like they're really building up to it. You've got unstoppable heel Drew McIntyre, just a beast of a man,
Hmm.
holding that world title. You've got Sami Zayn, the ultimate underdog, one of the best underdog face
Yeah.
workers of all time, coming in. The Royal Rumble is in the Middle East. Sammy is of Middle Eastern
Hmm.
descent. You could give him a nice big win in front of the home region fans
And
and then
yeah.
have him go into Mania as this perfect underdog foil to Drew's monster heel run. But you did make a couple solid points there, so now my beliefs are a little shaken.
I really have to clarify because Sami Zayn is one of my favorites. I
Hmm.
want to see it. I just
It's the
think Drew
realism.
McIntyre has so much heat
Yeah.
and has fought for this title for years to get back to this spot,
Oh yeah.
and I don't think he's going to lose it on the first feud.
Yeah.
He's going to
No.
hold it for I think until SummerSlam.
That's fair to say.
I cannot see him dropping it in the road to WrestleMania, unless it's back to Cody,
Ugh.
which I would hate, to
It's
be
just not
frank.
right.
But I think it's as simple as I don't think Drew McIntyre loses it on the first feud, and I think Sami Zayn is the first feud unless Obafemi drops a bomb and becomes that first match.
You make a good point. Yeah. I don't like how that's sitting with me, but
I mean, I don't
it
like it
is
either.
sticking
I
with
don't
me.
like it either.
No, you do make some good
Yeah.
points there. All right. Let's flip the script. I have bundled my three sell high individuals together,
Ooh, a
except for the
three for
fact
one deal.
now, mind you, they have zero connective tissue. There's nothing tying them together, but they're all
Oh.
in a space where these three individuals had very, very high points in 2025, and very recently have shown signs of decline. They're starting to crash, and I think there just really isn't much recovering from it. So, my three individuals who all share this very similar set of circumstances
Mhm.
happen to be Tiffany Stratton, Mike Santana, and Ray Phoenix. Now, out of those three, really, the only main event player is Tiffany Stratton, but Santana, I mean, Stratton, I don't really need to give her an introduction. One of the top women's wrestlers in the world today, one of the best character workers, just good, just a really good all
Mhm.
around wrestler. But she just hasn't been having a good time lately. Not some good matches,
That
not a
Charlotte
good
rivalry
feud.
was rough on her
That was
character.
just
The
rough in general.
the injury is gonna do a number on her coming back.
And coming back, does she have the same energy? Does she have the same spirit? Does she
I
have the
don't think
same,
she has nearly enough heat either
yeah,
to
the
get
heat,
at Jade Cargill
positive or
of all
negative?
people. So I could definitely see it.
Just a good wrestler, but 2026 is just not going to be her year. Coming off of injury, coming off of some downtimes. Sure, that's motivation enough to, get back on the horse to really try and hit some of those highs that 2025 had, but I just can't see it happening purely because the downward trend has been more of a spiral than anything else
Yeah.
in terms of match quality, in terms of the stories. It's been rough lately, and I don't see that picking up. But for the gentlemen in this equation who aren't quite as established as Stratton, you've got Mike Santana, who came into TNA in 2025 like a house of fire, really lighting up the place, establishing establishing himself as more than a tag team wrestler, as more than a member of a faction, as a guy who can really stand alone as a wrestler, as a character, as an all around worker, and really made the most of it. Had some fairly big rivalries, some big moments, got to be positioned as one of the faces of TNA during the big part of the NXT crossover. But the fact of the matter is, he's not champ anymore. He lost it in controversial, very, very controversial
Yeah.
fashion to Frankie Kazarian. And
Ugh.
I,
It
I
left a
love
bitter
Frankie.
taste.
I love Frankie, but more for his work, 10 years ago than
Yeah.
in 2026, the big 2026. So, but anyways, Santana just hasn't recovered from that point. He
Mhm.
was set up to be, the People's Champ successor following the departure, really, of Joe Hendry from TNA full time. He was set up to be the guy, the People's Champ, you know, the Cody Rhodes, the Hangman, the face of the company. And while the matches were there, while the true spirit was there, the booking hasn't backed him up.
Yeah.
And he lost that title and he's kind of lost the mojo and the energy and, to use that word again, the aura that he had at the start of 2025 and even midway through the year. He had that energy. He had that real vibe around him that this guy is a star. I just don't feel that with him anymore. The match quality hasn't gone down, but losing the title, succumbing to a couple minor injuries, it's the similar thing to Stratton where you may have had some high points last year, but it's a new year and you've had a downward slide recently, and it might just be too steep to climb out of in a major way in 2026. And the same goes for Ray Phoenix. Big debut, massive hype coming off of
Very
his debut.
massive.
A WrestleMania match
Yep.
right out of the gate. And
Absolute nothing.
absolute nothing. And
Absolute nothing.
like genuinely, Cam, I'm gonna ask you, name three things Ray Phoenix has done in the last 5 months.
Okay. He's put on a mask.
Ooh,
He's jumped off a top rope.
very nice, very nice.
That's all I can come up
That sounds about right. I
with.
mean, you give this guy such a big push, such a big momentum
Oh, no,
boost.
he fought a debut match this week. He fought a debut match. I can't remember who it was against,
And
but he fought one of the call-ups.
there you go.
Wasn't it? Was it Matt Card?
No, I don't
Was
think
it Trick? It's one of
maybe.
them. It's one. He had one. He had one.
But yeah, that really goes to show you the time that Phoenix is having right now. It's not a good one. And
No, he's
it's
got
the
to be paired up with Penta, and they keep pushing Penta.
that's the problem is he is on the level with his brother Penta in terms of, again, character, aura, vibes, wrestling abilities, high flying, like literally two of the most premier lucha wrestlers of the last decade, and you can only do something with one of them? Why are you not giving the Penta presentation and push to Ray Phoenix? Why are you not giving this same thing to him? And that's something that has been said countless times over throughout 2025. You look at that hot start, the Mania match, the big push, the big hype right out of the gate, debuting around the time as his brother, and the plane strikes the ground, no survivors. There is just not much hope for Ray Phoenix in 2026. And it's the exact same story that I told with Stratton, with Santana. It's the same thing with Phoenix, where you can have some great moments in 2025 at the start of the year. You can have some high highs, but it doesn't matter when you end the year on some very low lows. When momentum is not on your side, it takes a long time to get that back. I don't think it's going to take any of those three, most, if not all, of 2026 to
Yeah,
regain that momentum and that spirit and that energy to get back on that horse and keep on riding. I just can't see it for those three.
I think the one that has a chance is Mike Santana if he goes to NXT with how
Mm,
much open spots are available.
yeah.
I think he's too intertwined with TNA and, as you said, the face. So I don't think he has a chance. But I think that would revitalize his championship status.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say, as this episode comes to a close, I would like to officially announce my hopping onto the bandwagon of Tiffany Stratton being a bust in 2026 over Sami
Ooh.
Zayn. You have swayed me. Tiffany Stratton had a rough ending to her 2025, even though it happened in what, July?
Yeah.
Uh, so I over Sami Zayn, which I do think he has some heat. I made this
Wow.
list before yesterday's SmackDown, which
Yeah.
built onto his heat.
True.
So I am formally making a switch, and I am now voting for Tiffany Stratton as well to have a bad 2026. Even though Tiffy Time's one of my favorites, but she had a rough ending.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's good to have you on board, comrade.
it's a pleasure being on board, Captain.
And
Well,
on that note,
on that note, this episode of the Superkick Society comes to a close. It's a packed week. It was a packed episode. Went way over time compared to most of the other weeks with all the homeboy or homie Hopper Andrade comments and
it's true.
the Tiffy time dissing and
Well worth it,
the
though.
Obafemi propaganda, but you you get all your news here at the Superkick Society, whether it be funny news or serious news. You get all the news.
Whether you like it or
That's
not, you get all your news here.
oh, that needs to go on a shirt.
I think
Well,
so.
as I mentioned, uh, this week's episode of the Superkick Society comes to a close as we take a look at what happens on next week's episode. I'm gonna run another example or another series
Ooh,
of Pusher Barry. because we
Okay.
liked it here on the podcast so much. We're gonna run it again with a new year of wrestling at the helm and ahead of us. Holy cow. With a new year ahead of us. Um, and for Mount Rushmore, we're going to be talking about the greatest Royal Rumble winners
Okay.
of all time. We talked about the surprise segments. Now we're going to be looking at the Royal Rumble winners. Which one happened at the right time for the right story, even what they went on to do after that Royal Rumble. We're going to be looking at our four favorite slash best Royal Rumble winners in the entirety of WWE history, with the Royal Rumble obviously just around the corner. And with that, I've been Cam Sterling, joined by the lovely Josh Olderman, and we'll see you next weekend.